MMA Locker Room here, a part of Pub Sports Radio, and we got the man, the myth, the legend, the gangsters in town, Chael Sonnen himself. How you doing today?
Never better, man. How you doing?
Oh, man, I can't complain, man. We're at a star-studded event out here in California.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Fedor's last fight, and that's kind of stealing the. And I don't know if we should be talking about that because we got 2 world title fights. We got Ryan Bader. We got CBS, but for some reason, the fact that it's the last time to see Fedor is kind of the narrative out here.
It definitely is the narrative, but I mean, like you said, you got other explosive fights on there. Besides those, what is one of the sleeper fights that you would consider the fight of the night?
Well, I will tell you, a fighter of the night might be Johnny Eblen. Now, he needs this fight, right? Tokov is the right guy. Tokov's won 7 straight. He's won 24 of his last 25. That is a remarkably good record. The rumors that come out of fight camps that go through our industry almost always turn out to be true. I heard about a Mexican guy that was fighting out of the AKA named Cain Velasquez, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's the champion of the world. I heard the same thing about a young Brazilian named Junior Dos Santos comes to be champion of the world. I'm only sharing with you the rumors and the things that the American top team that is surrounded with success and does not need false valor. Dan Lambert himself. These guys are bragging about what they're seeing in the workout room from Johnny Eblen to a level that surprised me. I thought when he went out and beat Mousasi just by example, I thought Eblen had the greatest fight of his life, and I thought that maybe Mousasi had his worst. That doesn't make me a jerk as a critic. I think a lot of people, that's what we see when we get surprised, right? That was a surprise of how dominant Eblen was. Just sharing with you that what I am hearing, they are not worried about Tokov. That surprises me. Tokov intimidates me, and I don't got to fight the guy. And They think he's going to win all 5 rounds and at a minimum 4 of the 5. For Johnny Eblen, I'm just sharing with you, if that performance is as good as they say it is, that Dan Lambert himself is saying it's going to be, we're going to remember it.
Speaking about a night to remember, I mean, how would it be if actually Fedor was to get that championship belt with it being his last fight?
It would be awesome. It really would be remarkable. I mean, we're going to have problems as an organization. You know how you're going to tell that story on Monday, what we're going to do now that the belt is put up for grabs. But I think that Scott Coker would love that challenge. I think that could be very helpful in the negotiation for Francis Ngannou. They would need Francis a hell of a lot more if that was to happen. I mean, I'm just sharing with you. There would be a lot of moving parts. I don't think Fedor would come back, but I also am not fully convinced that Fedor wants to leave. You know, and I don't know that any of us really want to leave, but he got asked a question yesterday by Josh Gross of would you compete in anything else? Then he got asked a question by Manny Khabib of Francis specifically. And Fedor said no. He said, I'm done. But you saw what his body language said, same as I did. You saw what his eyes said, and he was thinking about it. That's all I'll say.
Got it. And this card is kind of split up, right? It seems like half the fighters are from USA, the other half are from Russia. I mean, who do you think is going to be victorious? Which country is going to have more wins?
Yeah, I tell you what, I really think it does come down to Johnny Eblen's fight. You know, these Russians are the serious business, man. It's a tough culture, it's a tough country. And I might know that better than some because I was a wrestler. And it was Soviet Union and the USSR when I was growing up before the breakup, and now it's just Russia. But they are still the top country in the world. And when they got into MMA, it was kind of obvious. It was kind of obvious that we're going to have a Russian invasion. I think it's here. I think Bellator is dealing with it, and I think that Johnny Eblen is probably the one guy that's going to have to stop that, and he's going to have to do it on Saturday night.
Got it. Now
a lot of pressure on Johnny there, right? There's a lot of pressure, but that's the reality. He is the champion. He needs to stop Tokov.
Definitely got pressure on him, but definitely, like you said, undefeated, 12-0. So it definitely seems like he has all the tools to win the fight.
Sure, I agree with that.
And then now let's take a trip down memory lane real quick. So when you used to walk out into that cage, into the octagon, take me into the locker room with you. What was going through your mind? Were you in a murderous mind state? Were you calm, cool, relaxed, or was it just another fight?
No, man. Well, I tried all of those out. I thought for a while that you had to be in that mindset and you had to be angry. I mean, I tried that. I had coaches tell me that and teammates. Now, this was back 1999 was my first fight. So we didn't even have gyms and coaches back then. You did your boxing over here, maybe you wrestled over here. And most people did their jiu-jitsu room in the living room. You cleared out some coffee tables and you worked on stuff that you saw on tape. So thinking you're supposed to be angry, that made perfect sense to me at 19 years old. And I kept that for a while. But over time, I calmed down to the point that maybe it was too calm. Maybe I was too comfortable in there. But it would be very hard for me to get my blood pressure up just because I had to go fight a guy, which wasn't the case. When I first got in it made me sick. I wanted to do it. And on fight day, you'd want to throw up. You were hoping somebody would pull the fire alarm or somebody would call in a bomb threat to the building, like anything to get out of it. It was so intense, truly. And then over time, it became I could do it 2 or 3 days at a night, not get too worked up about it. I don't know that that's a good thing. I don't know that being that relaxed was a good thing, but that was a reality of having done it so many times.
Got it. And I'll just leave it like this. Let's speak about reality. I mean, MMA Twitter and YouTube is taking off, and it seems like you have all these content creators, but you're standing on the top of all of them. How does that feel to be one of the top MMA content creators out there, play-by-play announcers, and who are some of the other content creators that you like out there on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that you're doing a great job, and I appreciate that compliment from you. And as you know, consistency is really the key, right? So if you can bring your equipment, or sometimes you got to grab your own iPhone, but as long as you can be consistent, I think the fans really look for that. I remember the time a website came out, it was called MMA Weekly. And MMA Weekly's still here, but MMA Weekly would do an article every day. And that was stunning in our sport. Nobody did an article on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You could wake up in the morning, get a coffee, and go to MMAweekly.com, as simple as it might sound. But they did reinforce the idea of being consistent. So to your point, I try to be out there every day.
Got it. You heard it here from himself. And last but not least, since you do have the best nickname out there, if you were to give me a nickname, what would it be?
Oh, I might need a minute to think about that. I mean, you're a very handsome, very charming guy. You got a well-groomed beard. You got cool glasses. You even smell nice. I mean, I'll throw that at you, but I might need a minute to think of a nickname because I want to give you a good one. I want to give you a good one.
I'll reach out to him later on Twitter and Instagram. You guys stay tuned to see what that would be. MMA Locker Room here at Pub Sports Radio here. The man, the myth, the legend. Look at those veins.
Can you believe that?
Chael Sonnen still got it.
Basically clean. That's pretty clean.
Clean as they get.
Clean. Not completely clean, but it's fairly clean.
That's all you
Cleaner.
need. Thank you.
Cleaner.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
It's not that clean.